Okay, girls, so in today's lesson, we're going to be doing multiplication of decimals. So let's start looking what we are going to focus on. First of all, some of you may know an algorithm that was taught to you in primary school, but here I want to think about the logic behind, and we're going to use our knowledge in fractions to get to that knowledge. So let's look at something here. Okay, let's look and trying to discover a pattern of what is happening here. I have 7 times 5. 7 times 5, we all know, answer 35. Good. Let's do 7 times 5/10. Okay, some of you might know that 5/10 is the same as a half. So you say, okay, a half of 7 is going to be 3.5 or 3 5/10. Good. Let's look at this one. 0.7 times 0.5, or I should say 7/10 times 5/10. And the answer, if you don't know how to do this one, you can use a calculator and verify my answer. Is going to be 35 hundredths. Okay, I want to see something here. What is going on? In the first one, I have no decimal places in the problem. I don't have decimal places in the answer. In the second one, I have one decimal place. In the problem, I have one decimal place in the answer. In the second one, I have one decimal place here, two second decimal places, two decimal places. In the problem, I have two decimal places in the answer. Okay, so what is happening? And let's try to figure this out. So we're going to use fractions, and let's focus on this one. I'm going to focus on our third one here, the one that I have on this one. And let's do this one with fractions. So if we write 7/10 times 5/10, and I'm not going to simplify or cancel here fractions, girls, because I want my answer to have in the denominator powers of 10. So I'm not going to do any simplification here. What is going to happen? This is going to be equal to 35 what? Hundredths. Notice what happened here. I had one decimal place in my question and two decimal places here, and in the answer I have two decimal places. In another way, I had a tenth and another tenth, and in my answer I had a hundredths. Okay, I'm hoping that you're starting to look the pattern of what is happening there. Let's look at another one. What happens if we do 6/10 times 800? We're going to do it with fractions. So 6/10 times 800. So what is going to be my answer? 48,000. And if I write it as a decimal, it's going to be, I have to make sure that I'm finishing in the thousands, so I have to put a 0 here, and then my hundreds and my thousands. Good, so that's my answer. Let's look at the decimal places of what is happening here. One decimal place, two decimal places, so I have in total 3 decimal places, which corresponds to the same that I have here in my fractions. I have 1 0, 2 zeros here. At the end, I have 3 zeros. 2 decimal places in my problems. 3 decimal places in my problem. 3 decimal places in my answer. Good. So let's work on some examples. I'm hoping that you're seeing the pattern here. So let's work on some examples. I'm going to rub this out, this 3 that I have in here. Okay, so if I do 12 6/10 times 7. So how can I write this as a fraction? So I can say, okay, I'm going to write 12 Actually, I'm not going to write this one as a fraction. I'm just going to do the operation, the algorithm of what you actually have to do. So, but I'm going to highlight how many decimal places I have in my problem. I have only one, so I already know that my answer is going to have only one decimal place. So I'm going to do, okay, 126 times 7, which is going to be, okay, 882. So my answer, when I'm going to actually write it, be careful, this is the operation that I did. But when I'm going to write my answer, I have to make sure that I'm writing 88 and 2/10. Why 2/10? Because I had one decimal place here in my problem, and I have to have one decimal place in my answer. Good. Let's do another example. Example number 2. Example number 2. So let's do this one, 0.4629 times 2.6. So first thing that I'm going to do, okay, how many decimal places do I have in my problem? Here I have 4, and here I have 1, so in total I have 5. So I already know that my answer is going to have 5 decimal places. So let's do the multiplication. And girls, I'm not doing the whole multiplication here because we have covered this in other videos. Oh my goodness me, 2 things that I did wrong here. I don't have to write this, and the 26 have to be aligned here. Perfect. So I was saying that I'm not doing all the division here because we have covered the multiplication here because we have covered that in other videos. So I'm just going to write the answers. Perfect. And when I write it down, how many decimal places I need? I need 5. So I'm going to write my answer here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, all of these are decimal places. So my answer is 1.2035. Good, fantastic. Let's do another one. The last one. So if I do 3.326 hundredths times 4/10. So how many decimal places are going to have my answer? 3. Good. We already know that. So we're going to do 326 times 4, which is equal to 'Good, and because I already know that my answer is going to have 3 decimal places, then I am going to write this one as. Okay, girls, I hope you find it useful.